I like
on
it.
the treadmills, just going like up and down, up and down.
Yeah, exactly. Like
the sweat
dripping sweat.
PowerPoints, power lunches, conference calls, reply to all, endless meetings, constant check-ins, and so much wasted time. Are you sick of the BS? So are we. It's time to take our time back, rework the way we work, and make every call a call to action. This is a podcast for people who want to stop talking and really start connecting. This is After 12.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to After 12, 12 for 12's original podcast series that explores cool companies, brands, messages, and makers, and what compels us to take note and to become fans. It's been a while, but I'm very happy to again be joined by my life partner and occasional co-host, Josh Rush. There he is. We've got a great show for you today. Our guest is the chief evangelist and marketing guru at Future Motion, the brand that put floating on the map with the Onewheel, the self-balancing single-wheel electric transport, often erroneously described as an electric skateboard. Pshaw. Internet, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Jack Mudd to After 12. Jack, how's it going?
Wow, that was a killer intro. I'm not sure, what I can say the rest of the show to top that. It's going really well.
Well, it's been a great show. Thanks for joining us, Jack. What's going on, man? I can't believe it's been nearly 2 years since we featured Onewheel on 12 for 12.
Wow. That's right. That was a great time. Yeah, we got you riding. I believe you took a nice spill. And I believe it also involved me switching shirts and identities with the co-host that you had back then. So hopefully.
Yes, Joe.
We referred to him as the no host. I'm the only co-host.
That's right.
Okay.
And by the way, he says he misses you and loves you very much. He wished he could be here, but he said, I have a day job unlike you guys.
Right. Perfect.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, that was a great time. And what's happened since then? I mean,
what hasn't happened since then?
How about this pandemic, huh?
This pandemic.
What are you talking about?
Jack, I don't know if you remember or not, because it was, when was that, Adam? Like 16? We met very briefly at CES. This was like you guys were, pretty new to market or just coming on to the market. But it's been, I guess it's probably been 4 or 5 years now. So it's good to see you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, so for the viewers that don't watch 12 for 12 because they don't have Amazon Prime or they don't use the internet or because it's a horrible show, tell us, when did Onewheel officially launch? Was that 2014?
2014, yeah. So Kyle Dirksen, our founder and CEO, was working in his garage on this concept. He was a big snowboarder, and so he wanted to take that powder day snowboarding experience and bring that into everyday life.
I grew up snowboarding on powder, and that to me is an awesome feeling that I want to have all the time. And I was like, how do you make something that feels like that to zoom around town? So I got noodling on this concept in my garage and got a scooter motor and a chain drive, and at the time it was lead batteries, and tried to lash it all together in a way that would actually ride. And after about a year, I got something that worked a little bit.
And so he, I believe back in 2008, was working in his garage on a prototype that, had one big wheel. Back then, sort of the motor and battery technology and sensor technology really wasn't there. With the electric car development, the batteries got better. These small brushless hub motors, it got better as well. And then with cell phones, right? iPhone was introduced in 2007. That rapidly advanced the chip technology, the sensor, gyro and accelerometers. So by 2014, he had put together this prototype, and I ran into him, and we went and launched this thing at CES, and it was a pretty amazing experience. We were the smallest booth in the farthest corner in the in the sands, and I swear that's where all the good stuff is. I remember next to us, we had this Russian guy who had this crazy fruit ninja experience that was like, it was like dripping. It was like steam dripping with like fruits falling down, like virtual fruits, and you chop through. He also like never showed up at his booth. It was amazing. But yeah, so launched Onewheel then and got a ton of press pickup. You know, we didn't really know like if anyone would want this thing or like really what it was at the time. You know, like never really occurred to us like where to go and what people would want to do with it. But yeah, man, it's been super fun. Just floating along, you know.
Oh,
We
exactly.
just did a quick web search. One of our producers just did a quick web search for the falling fruit ninja company. We can't find them anywhere, but you guys are doing well.
It's Russian.
Pandemic be damned. You're doing well, Jack. What's going on today? I mean, flash forward.
We got like a crazy, you know, subculture of Onewheel nerds that are taking over the world, I would say now. And there's even some normal people that ride Onewheels too, you know? And I think we're starting to see, just more groups of people that I could have never thought, or I would have never imagined would be Onewheelers are now.
But it's kind of
addicted.
funny, like one wheel nerds. It's like, I also see just a lot of nerds that I know. When I see them with a one wheel, I'm like, you know, you're still a nerd though, right? Like, I know it's cool, but you still fall into that nerd category. Not one wheel nerd, but nerd with the one wheel.
There's all varietals. There's all
That's
varietals.
Right.
Really.
I mean, you've got your like one wheel clubs too. I saw a piece about this group in Minnesota that's got their like one wheel club, and they go out and they're all over the country, all over the world. In fact, I don't know if I ever told you this, but we did 2 shoots. We did a shoot at Shinola in Detroit, and we did a shoot in Georgia and Atlanta. In both spots, we interacted with somebody that we were interviewing that had a one wheel with them.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's the kind of thing when we approach a brand that we're like, these guys are doing something cool. When you organically see that thing on another shoot at another brand, you're like, okay.
And then we inorganically placed the one wheel into the Restaurant Homes episode where Chef Taylor, you know, one wheeled into the bar, grabbed a shot, slammed it back, and into the kitchen he went.
And for the record, of course, we don't endorse, you know, drinking and riding, but I appreciate that you snuck it in there as product placement. But yeah, I think to your point, like so I'm our director of marketing, and I would love to take credit for the rise of this product. But I think that really the product is amazing, and like, you know, it's something that people want to talk about, right? And like you see one and you're like, holy shit, what's that, right? And then and it's this crazy experience. You know, if you haven't ridden a one wheel, like it's kind of hard to explain what it's like, but it's just like it's just a different. What I'm most proud of is that we have this company has like created a new riding experience for the world to enjoy. Like that's really, really cool. You know, I think most companies are, you know, taking a product and, you know, improving it marginally or, you know, it's like a different spin on something, but like this is truly something like totally new that we've launched into the world, and people love it. And yeah, I think like a lot of the growth of Onewheel is just like person to good old fashioned, you know, like dining room table, like you won't believe what I did today. You know, like this thing was insane. And so
we have a mantra that, you know, we use with clients all the time that fans really build brands, and it's not bullshit. It's the truth. And you look at the growth of the one wheel, and it is just people that ride it have that experience and go, oh my God, I've got to tell all my friends about this. I've got, you know, and they're riding, so they're like a floating endorsement down the street.
Right. Totally. So, no, that's totally true. And yeah, so I just kind of like I just hang out and do podcasts. Like I don't really do anything. You know, it's just like let them do the work. No.
So I live in a neighborhood. It's a 4-mile loop. Adam's run it with me, but it's a 4-mile loop, and I'll go out. Like the other day, I called Adam. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I got to go for a ride. Like I got to clear my head." So I'll just like take a call and just kind of cruise the neighborhood. And my wife has the original. I have an XR. And you know, in the last 2 years, we've had at least 2 neighbors buy just because they saw us. So we'll catch up with them sometimes and I think they're both pint owners. But yeah, it's that kind of thing where, it's not like there's some crazy clubs like in North Carolina and stuff like that. We're not doing like crazy trails. Mostly it's just like get out of the house and, it's like get off the Zoom call and clear my head.
So that's my next point. Like with America moving indoors because of the pandemic and COVID, I mean, I just, one of the great marketing messages you guys have on your website now is destroy boredom. Have you seen an uptick in sales or just interest with people moving outside looking for local fun and adventure?
That's a great question. So the destroy boredom thing is a fun story. It came out of just a brainstorm with myself and Kyle about like what are we and what are we not, basically. Like what is the enemy? Like every great brand like has enemies. Was the premise, and so we were really trying to think about like, what is the enemy of Onewheel? And for us, we came to boredom, because Onewheel is a lot of things for a lot of different people.
Yeah.
But we felt like that is like the common denominator, it's like, if you're riding a Onewheel, you're not someone who, is content sitting on the couch and, like wasting away, you're going to get out there. You want to experience life. You want to go, have fun, try new things, So we came to this destroy boredom. Like we're on a crusade to vanquish boredom was the original. We felt like that was a little too wordy. Yeah. So we love that idea, and we wanted to wrap a campaign around it. And so what we did is we threw it out as like a user generated content challenge. So basically for 4 weeks, we challenged people in the world, Onewheel owners and non-owners, to destroy boredom by whatever means they had, and each week we would pick the best destroyer of boredom and give them a Onewheel. And we started this on like March 1st.
Oh, wow.
So we started this like 2 weeks, like maybe on some deep subreddits. There was like some COVID talk, but like this was clear pre-COVID, like had nothing to do with COVID. And then COVID hit. I remember Kyle texted me like, sort of like as that news was coming out that the whole world was going to be shut down, He's like, I think we destroyed boredom like a little too hard. Like maybe like I think it's gone too far. But yeah, I mean that message is definitely never been more relevant, than right now. Like I think everyone's had to adjust how they entertain themselves, how they take their own mental breaks, how they just like de-stress, like you mentioned, get outside, shake things up. I think it's been so important to me to just change up your scenery, like I think that's for me been key, and also sort of like your tempo, when you're riding Onewheel, you're just kind of like operating in a different rhythm of life, and it's definitely resonated with folks. We've seen some lift for sure during the pandemic. I know like you read all the stories about electric bikes doing super well, and it's a really great way to take these little mini adventures. You can't go on your cruise anymore to the Bahamas,
right.
but you can, hop outside and cruise your neighborhood. So
Now, did you all with Adam? That doesn't mean drink again.
We need to destroy boredom and destroy microbes. It's kind of insane too, because not only have you created this fandom and this way to get outside again and explore kind of the local terrain, but you've created communities who are creating empathy. I mean, I don't know, right now, one of the big stories with Onewheel is the story about, John Schreier and him going across country raising money over the course of 30 days. And he just started with this ride from Montreal to Whistler in memory of his pal, Cody Beauchard, who passed away from cancer. Tell us about this, how he reached out to you or how you learned about this story, because it's pretty incredible.
Wow. Yeah. John's story. I smile just thinking about John because that dude brings the energy. I get like a daily morning like wake up videos from John on his mission across Canada, and that guy is like so fired up every day. Yeah, it's awesome. So we get notes like this all the time, like, hey, I'm gonna go ride from X to Y, and like you guys should support me. And the folks that we have on social media were like, yeah, like just kind of assumed that that goes into this pile over here and like whatever. And then we saw Kyle saw John on national Canadian news for his journey. I mean, this is the longest electric rideable journey. I don't know about electric bike journey, probably not, but electric skateboard, whatever you want to call Onewheel, by like tenfold.
4,700 kilometers.
Canada is a long country.
I know we're all going to move there soon.
Yeah,
like I get like the calf strain. Like, I mean, think about it, because you get like the calf strain or like the heel cramp or like the if you're on a long ride, it's like So I mean, he's got to keep the ice bags like handy.
How many miles is it? It's like over 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
Well over 3,000. So it's like, I mean, it's funny when you think about that. Like, that's a trip that if I was driving, I would be worried that my car is gonna, break down. Like,
and he's doing it. He's doing it on a pint too.
He's doing it on a pint, yeah. And it's even more amazing. So he texted me a couple videos last night. He started riding in July. Wow. And he texted me his first riding video, and the dude can't ride a one wheel. And it's September, so that there's hope for you, Adam. There's hope for you. You could be riding to New York in 2 months if you if you wanted it enough. If you just worked hard enough. This is what I keep telling you.
I know.
Don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams. But it is super
his
cool.
Full body hazmat suit would create like major drag on his.
It's true.
Right. But it's rad. It's so cool. John, let's see. He's already hit his goal of $30,000. If there's a way to link his fund at the end of this, maybe we could do that.
We absolutely will.
And you can follow him on Facebook as he literally rides across Canada every day, pumping out motivational speeches every morning, which is now like my new routine to watch.
Awesome.
You can't beat some just misty Canadian John Schreier, morning.
Well, and again,
talking about how lucky we are to be here.
I mean, that's the message, right? Life is short. We're all human beings. We're all bound to the same fate. We've got to live together. What a great story. And it's so much better than like the great film placements that you've been getting lately. I remember I saw Ad Astra, and I emailed you like, did you see Onewheel in the movie? I mean, and Artemis Fowl, and I'm thinking these are all organic placements, right? They didn't call you and say, hey, we're gonna have a Onewheel in there.
I think we sent our Ad Astra. We had no idea about.
That's crazy.
Artemis Fowl, we sent them a Onewheel. And the time frame on these, I think they paid for it. But the time frame on these is insane because it's like we sent that board off in like 2016.
Oh wow.
And
it takes a long time to make one of these films.
Yeah.
This podcast takes a day.
Yeah. So
wow.
So what's in that sense, like 2016, we saw the film this past year. The pints come out. Obviously, that's done really well. What's cooking in the oven right now in terms of like the product development? Well, my options are I could make some shit up and just like go with it with fervently, or I could say I can't tell you anything. Would you like me to try making some stuff up? We prefer marketing blah blah blah. So it's gonna have 3 wheels, but they're more square.
It's the brilliance of having your parent company be Future Motion and not Onewheel, because I'm waiting for that next shoe to drop. I mean, it's like with Peloton, they've got the bike, and the bike just skyrocketed during the quarantine. and the treadmill, and now they have all these component classes. Josh doesn't have a Peloton, but he and his wife, have the app on their iPad, and they're doing, all the workouts. And I think,
Smart.
What's Onewheel going to do?
Should we start an at-home training program? We actually, so this is a tangent, but we have dreamt of doing like a fake Peloton commercial where we rent out one of those studios and we just put 20 treadmills in it. And then we have like people in way too tight clothes riding Onewheels with like a way too intense instructor.
I like
on
it.
the treadmills, just going like up and down.
Yeah, exactly. Like
the sweat
dripping sweat.
Somebody's like,
totally. No, but I think I know that Kyle has aspirations to make new stuff. That's what Kyle loves to do, is to create new stuff.
He's an engineer.
And, yeah, totally. And like, of course, the Onewheel, I think there's a lot left to do with Onewheel, like if there's anything that's clear to us, it's that like, people are using it in all different kinds of ways and want different things from it. Right. Some people, some people want to ride 100 miles every weekend and like shred the gnarliest trails. Other people just, want to cruise around with their kids. Some people want to like go to work on their board or go to the grocery store. That's like my speed. So I think, there's definitely a lot more to do on the Onewheel product line, and we're always working on that. So, I think at some point, I would anticipate that there'd be other non-Onewheel things too, but I wish I could tell you more about that. I'm waiting just like you are.
We read your bluff, Jack. We know there's something going on. There's something deep state in there. There's a QAnon Onewheel.
Always. It's definitely linked to Q. That's for sure. That's the only thing I really can tell you.
We know it's evident, and our people will start posting tonight.
Yeah, a pizza restaurant controlled by Hillary Clinton, probably.
Dude, I mean, on that note, it's funny because we did so I moved to Portland last year, and we did an episode on Voodoo Donut, and they got linked to Donut Gate through Pizzagate. Oh, wow. And I remember like talking to Chuck, our director, who you met, and Chuck was like, You can't listen to the internet, Adam. It's just, it's a mess.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, the internet is a mess. And the real world is a mess too. So like, sure. That's why we all have to eat donuts and ride Onewheels, because like that's the goodness, that there is out there. So
you guys have so much in common with so many other brands in terms of doing really interesting things and building community and building original products. I talked to you guys about possibly, because we're buddies with the Shinesty folks in Colorado. And for South by this year, I was like, it'd be cool to see, the Shinesty guys or the Onewheel guys and gals riding on Onewheels through Austin with the Shinesty gear. Have you done much in terms of partnerships with other brands? So have you pursued that?
Yeah. Well, we came out with our own beer this year. So that was a watershed moment, I would say, in our partnership career. Yeah, Humble Sea Brewery, which is like our local watering hole. A 3 minutes Onewheel from our office. We came out with Wheelie Fogging Cool, dry hopped IPA, and it was delicious.
Smart.
So that's our big partnership of this year. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'm interested in exploring more for sure. It's been tough, with COVID. Obviously, we've had to adjust the strategy away from the physical world.
Because you guys had the December 2019 pop up in LA. Tell us about that. How'd that go?
Yeah, totally. That was amazing. It was absolutely epic. We rented out a abandoned gas station, and which is wonderfully ironic. And it was amazing. I mean, we sold out a product over that weekend. And yeah, just like having a space for the Onewheel community to come together. And also so many people want to try this thing. You know, like I imagine myself, if I had seen this on the internet, it's a lot of money to lay down on something that you're like, is this thing for real? Like what, you know? So being able to provide a way for people in that area to come by and ask their questions and hop on it is a really compelling, you know, thing to do. And it's something that I know we were excited about. Our 2020 strategy definitely had, wanted to build on that, wanted to do some more pop-ups. I want to go do a Paris pop-up. That might be 2022. We'll see
maybe
how 2021 shakes out.
Are you still moving forward with the World Onewheel Championship? Is that going to happen, or you guys announced that last month?
So the Race the Rail went down.
It already went down.
It went down. I'll send you the highlights. It was pretty epic.
You did that in Colorado, right?
It's Utah.
We did that in Utah this year. Yeah, but we did change the location. Yeah, I mean it was really awesome. It was pretty interesting to hold an event in when was that? August? I think it was August.
Yeah, and you Facebook Lived it, and I watched some of that, and I was just like, I mean, and it was kind of like watching ESPN. I mean, the way you did it was genius with the commentating as they're riding down the hill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we we streamed it live on Facebook and on YouTube. We actually had 3,600 plus peak concurrent viewers for the live stream Race the Rail this year, which the company that helped us with the live stream also does like the WSL World Surf League events and not like Spartan races, a number of other things, some of which are on TV. 3,600 peak concurrent viewers is like on par with the surf events, like the professional surf events in the world. So yeah, pretty rad. This race was amazing. You know, came into this race thinking that we had a pretty good idea about who might win. Total underdog, came out, beat everybody, super excited. They're racing down ski hills in Utah. So there's like some epic
wipeouts.
Some epic wipeouts, but these guys are all really good. So, you know, like they know how to tuck and roll but yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You know, like I love, to be able to, you know, Onewheel is a sport. Like I came away from this race thinking like, you know, some people, you know, your core surf skate homies out there are like, yeah, whatever. Like that's not, you know, that's like whatever. That's not a thing. But like, the fact of the matter is that it is, and like in 5 years' time, yeah, like at some point, like the numbers don't really lie. Like there's going to be more people watching these events every year, and the athletes keep getting better. The hardware is going to keep getting better. Like what you can do on it is already pretty impressive. Sure. I mean, one of our events this year was riding from the top of Snow Basin to the bottom. It's like 4,000 vertical feet, you know? So yeah, like that's where some of it is going. Like not ever, you know, it's not for everybody for sure. I think that's one of the things that's really interesting about Onewheel is that like, it is a sport for some people. And for some people, it's like something totally different. From a marketing perspective, it's actually hard to balance that. Right, because like you have this group of people over here that are really into this thing on this very particular level, are very focused on progression, you know.
And then you have the people, you know, that ride it through Midtown.
Yeah, and then you have like sort of more like, and then the question is also like, how do you bring this experience more towards like the mass consumer who's like they don't need their whole life to be defined by Onewheel. They just like want to have fun too, you know. And so I think it's really important for us to have that race and to keep, you know, supporting that.
Logistically,
as a sport.
how difficult was it to produce and to staff? And I mean, just with
super
distancing?
hard.
Yeah,
super hard.
I mean, I'm curious. Like, you have to tell me more. Like,
yeah. So creating a protocol. So basically, usually that event is open to the public, right? So we completely close to the public. Usually there's like 150 people competing for those spots in that race. Instead of that, we invited 12. So we took the 12, and that's fraught with all kinds of,
testing,
conspiracy theories about why we invited who we invited. It's like, you can't win, But
what kind of protocol did you guys have to do? Like, do you had to test them and keep them separate, and everyone had to mask up and sanitization stations and stuff like that?
We basically bubbled, so everyone got tested. You had to submit a negative test 1 week, 7 days before coming out. And then everyone was housed in their own room, private transportation to and from the event. So can't interact with anyone outside of our testing bubble. That went for all of our staff, all the people that are shooting. It's like a huge ordeal, to make that happen. And I was really impressed by how well the athletes took that, and how seriously they took it. I think I listened to some of the Onewheel podcasts and whatever that's been out of that, and it's clear that people took it seriously. There was not after hours,
shenanigans.
Yeah, they're all planning on riding with all the local people there in Utah and stuff, and I think that they ended up not doing that, and it's in their own best interest. Like, we were very clear. It's like, look, if we can't hold this race safely, we're not going to hold it at all. So,
what was the prize?
You guys
purse?
are the ones that are going to win money, not us.
Right. What was
prize
the purse?
In terms of the prize purse, the winner of the final race was awarded $6,500, and then we had team events as well leading up to the race, and each team event was worth $3,000. If the winning team, whoever won the final race, actualized the money for their team. Okay, so there's two teams.
Gotcha.
Okay, so team events. Whoever won the final race actualized their whole team's prize purse.
Gotcha.
The team that did not win the final race walked home with nothing. So it was really dramatic.
They walked home with a bunch of swag, right?
They walked home with nothing.
Shame and regret.
Yeah, shame and regret. No, it was epic. It was really, really fun. Totally. And you can check that out on YouTube. You should actually.
Yeah, we're going to run some
Onewheel
footage
racing.
right now.
I am not gonna lie. Onewheel racing it's awesome. I got so hyped. I got to commentate, which was too much fun. And myself and Ted, who were commentating, were like out. I almost fell out of my chair multiple times and just screaming, yelling. Like, it was legitimately super exciting. So
that's awesome. Well, how are they? I'm sorry.
How long does it take to get from the top to the bottom? I mean, what was the duration of the race? How quick did it unfold?
The race was a portion of the ski hill. And it took, I think the best laps were like about 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, the full top to bottom was like a team event that we held. And that took people, the best time was like 15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, flying. Yeah.
That's great. Totally. Well, so how is the crew? I wanted to ask you in terms of like, the gang back in Santa Cruz. I was worried about you guys when I saw that the fires recently were, on the east side of one in the Bonnie Doon area. Like, did it come that? I mean, it was pretty close to you guys, right?
Yeah, totally. I was driving back from Utah, actually, coming up over the hill into Santa Cruz, and it's just like you can't see a thing. Our office was like where basically the line was drawn. In terms of like evacuation and the road, Highway 1 was blocked past our office. Our office was fine. It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. And I know a few people that were affected personally by those fires. And now there's, fires all over the West Coast, it's pretty crazy. We're doing all right. And, It's like it's a moment though, right? Of like, shoot, we gotta change some things here, and get this figured out a bit. And I think not like doing a shameless product plug, but like driving less, electric transportation is like a part of it,
Right.
There's
a big
a
part
lot
of it.
a lot of pieces that we need to do, but it's like it's a very visceral. Actually, I was up in Oregon too more recently. It's like 450 AQI up there.
Yeah, that's where I was. I mean, my brother's farm is in Estacada, and it was less than a mile from the fire line, the Riverside Fire. His kids actually spent last week with us because the air quality was so poor. I mean, and we had to I was telling Josh, we had to put furnace filters on fans to clean the air. And we shut all the windows. We have AC, central air. So even with that, all of the furnace filters in 4 to 5 days were black.
Wow. Totally. It's scary. It's super scary.
But my kids are, they're ardent smokers. I let them smoke in the house, so it's fine. The
trained
teenagers.
professionals, yeah.
Right. That might contribute.
Well, how about production in San Jose? That was the other thing I was thinking. Like, did COVID affect the way you guys, have your standard kind of distribution center and production facility?
Yeah, totally. Slowed us down quite a bit, particularly in the beginning. California was under that shutdown. So yeah, that was a big hurdle for us. And I think we're back to we're making Onewheels, but we've obviously had to change how the line works and just account for
and has
the things you need to account for.
Does the supply chain kind of return to normal, or are you still kind of lagging with some parts and components?
I think it's been a challenge. I think it's been a challenge. Yeah. Talking to our COO, I was like, what, I was asking him kind of this question, like, what's been the biggest challenge? He's just like, everything.
Welcome to the never normal.
I have no idea how that stuff works, but I assume it's really hard, I assume it's really, really hard to.
Well, obviously you've got a pretty specific formula to your marketing success. What have you guys, do you feel like you've had to make really serious and significant changes from what you've been doing? I mean, aside from not popping up at events, what's working really well for you that you would say, is there a takeaway? Is there something if you were talking to friends who were in another business that were, conversely struggling, do you feel like you guys have learned something from this that you could share, or do you think it's just been that kind of right time, right place, and just kind of tried and true, and that's what's kind of kept you guys going and accelerating through all this?
Well, I think one of the things that's been sort of convenient for us is that we've always been like a digital first company, so we do have a retail network in the world, but we've really been, focused
e-com.
On direct online for our whole existence. And because of that, we've sort of built out our team accordingly, right? We have 2 full-time videographers on staff. Video is a huge component of what we do. And that's like, you got to be able to reach people on the internet, and you got to be able to push content out all the time. And so I think we've really just leaned into that through this period. And I mean, content is everything, right? So, and being also creative.
Are you spending more money on advertising and maybe taking advantage of some of the, kind of the
deals,
drops in pricing? Are you doing more ads now?
I think that for us, it's about finding efficiencies there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is finding platforms that work well. I mean, I know, if you go back several years, it was all about Facebook,
right.
And then with the Cambridge Analytica stuff, Facebook became a lot more expensive. You know, your dollar went less far basically. And so now for us, you know,
this podcast is actually a Facebook deep fake.
Exactly. I hear it's all on LinkedIn now. That's what I'm hearing. But yeah, for us, you know, like YouTube, you know, YouTube's been huge, both in terms of just like the organic videos that we're pushing out on YouTube. We just reached 70,000 subscribers, which I'm psyched about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the paid stuff, you know, like it's a changing landscape. And I think, yeah, just, you know, if I was talking to other marketers, I'd say one of the things that we do pretty well, but we could always improve on, is really being intentional about what kind of content works best where, and being really honest with yourself about it as well, right? Because it's like, you want to say that the answer is always, oh, like, let's like shoot it really beautifully on this DSLR camera, and let's spend money to make that happen. And then let's put it on Instagram, and then let's put, you know, the same piece of content, let's put it on Facebook, and let's put it on YouTube. That's not really like how it works. You know, like what works well on Instagram is not what works well on YouTube, you know, and Facebook's different too. They all have their own intricacies. And so I think, you know, I've learned that like cell phone video crushes on Instagram. You can post a beautifully shot and edited piece and post it to Instagram. No one cares, right? Because it doesn't look like it belongs on the platform. You know, you want to see videos that feel like your friend just sent them to you.
And you have a minute too.
Yeah, totally. So I think understanding like each the what belongs where, what works well there, and being honest with yourself about it. From a marketing standpoint, I think that's something that we think about a lot. And
what would you say to Adam right now if he were to ask you the secret to your success? Would you say the same thing, or would you lie and tell him something different?
Yeah.
Well, if he posts this whole, you know, if he posts like a 60-second cut of this to Instagram, like still cropped wide, like then I'd have some angry words for him. What are you thinking?
No, we never do that. We never do that.
We never lie to get the sale. That would be horrible. Jack, it has been a total pleasure reconnecting with you. We're going to put an insert right here from Joe. Joe wants to say hi. Joe?
Hey, you guys, Onewheels are like so awesome. You're gonna be so stoked when you get on this thing, man. It's gonna be like, whoa, this is awesome.
Jack, you're awesome. Josh, any last questions or thoughts for Mr. Mudd?
No, man, it's been a pleasure. It's great catching up with you, and glad to see everyone's doing well and staying healthy, and love to see you guys continue to grow. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Awesome. Well, hey, we'll catch up soon, and in the words of Onewheel, nar.